on that. Now, 3D. My son. And it's hard to see. If you're in the front, you might be able to see it. If you look into his eyes, what do you see? You see me taking a picture of it. But notice the two eyes. Is my image in the same place on both eyes? No. This is how you do 3D vision. Each eye sees a slightly different image. Each of your eyes sees a slightly different image. That's why if you shift your eyes back and forth, why it looks like the image shifts back and forth, because each eye sees a little different. In fact, stereograms, where you have two pictures, you have these little things, put them on, you take the two pictures, they slightly overlap, and it makes it look like it's three-dimensional, because your eyes interpret these two different images, your brain interprets as three-dimensional, because that's how your three-dimensional sight does it. And we use polarizing filters now to do three-dimensional movies. That's what the little eyeglasses are. They have basically polarizers. But they're lousy sunglasses, because whereas your sunglasses have both lenses at the same orientation, those glasses you get at the movie theater do not. In fact, they aren't even at the right angle. Neither one of them is at the right angle to block out glare. They make very bad sunglasses on that. But in the original 3D movies, you had like a red lens and a blue lens. And you have this overlapping thing. And the blue one, you saw kind of the red movie, and the other one, you saw the blue movie, and it gives you some sort of cheesy 3D effect. Kind of like Clash of the Titans gave you a cheesy 3D effect if you went and saw it in 3D. They actually had the 3D after the fact. It wasn't very good. I'm glad the guy at the theater told me not to go see the 3D one. Because you could tell exactly where it was, and if you tell it would have been really cheesy. But the original 3D movies, they used to use two projectors. They would do two projectors. That's why it was very expensive. You go like to Disneyland, they had like the 3D movies. I remember one of the first ones, like Muppet 3D. That was a very good one. I mean, it's like the little animation guy. It looks like he's like right in front of you. Things like that, right in front of you. But basically what you do is you would have one filter is run through a horizontal and one is run through a vertical. And your glasses, one eye has the vertical and one eye has the horizontal. So if you ever got a 3D movie and took out the glasses, what does the picture look like? Blurry. Because there's two images on the screen. There are two images up there. It's just that because of the polarizers, one eye only sees this one. One eye only sees that one, and they're slightly offset. And just like that stereogram, your eyes put them together. Now, I don't pretend to understand how the technology works for new ones, but they pretty much, it's on the same movie. But they're really not this way. They're actually angled, either this way or this way, but they have this kind of angle to them, is what the polarizers have on them. So, but it's still the same idea. This eye sees one, this eye sees the other, and they're slightly offset, so it looks like three-dimensional on that.
So if you're blind people with an eye, you couldn't watch the 3D movie?
No. You could, but it'd be blurry.
So you still like that blurry picture?
Well, no. If you put on the glasses and you just watched it, if you put on the glasses and just watched it, it would appear two-dimensional because that one good eye would see one movie. If you didn't wear the glasses, it would be a double thing. So yes, if you were blind in one eye, you could go to a 3D movie, but it'd be just like going to a flat screen movie. So there'd be no point in doing that. Because you still have to wear the glasses, but that would mean you would just see one of the two images. Now, the two images are exactly the same. They're both the same. It's not like there's two different images. They're both the same. They're just slightly offset from each other on that. So you'd be able to see one. It'd be just like going to a regular movie. No point in spending the extra of how many dollars it costs for that. Questions? All right, so guys, turn to page 418. 418. Optical illusions. Now these are brain effect. These are a light effect. It's affect light, but these are optical illusions. Now look at the picture. This picture is in your book. Are those lines curved? Or are they straight and parallel? Because if I put a straight edge up next to them, they are straight. But because of the little lines behind them, they look curved. This is what's called forced perspective. Forced perspective. This is the same general idea that you use places like Disneyland. Now, if you go to Main Street USA at Disneyland, how tall are the buildings? Anybody recall about how many stories are the buildings on Main Street?
3.
When you look at them, they look like 3-story buildings. They're not 3 stories. Now, when you look up a building, if you would go to a 3-story building, you look up, are all the windows from, when you're looking up, are all the windows the same size? No, as the building goes up, they get smaller. But you do know all the windows are the same size. Right? So you have this reference. All those windows must be the same size. Well, at Disneyland, first floor, normal size. The second floor appears smaller. But the windows are actually small. In other words, they're made smaller. In other words, if you were on the second floor, you actually were up the second floor next to them, normally the windows would be the right size, right? If you went to Disneyland and go to the second floor, the windows are actually smaller. If you go to the third floor, the windows are even smaller. By making them smaller, the buildings look taller. Because your brain says, okay, I know that those windows are supposed to be the same size, they're smaller. And they're also kind of angled, they're not square. And things like that. So the buildings at Disneyland will actually look taller than they really are. They look taller than they really are. Again, this is called forced perspective. In fact, Disney kind of invented this idea. I mean, he took this general idea, but the idea of building a building and the facades on the structures bigger than they really are was kind of something that was started with Disneyland. They would build with that, just to make these things look taller and bigger than they are. Limited space. Look at the 2 blocks next to this thing. There's these 2 blocks that look like that. Are they equally colored? Which one looks darker right now? The left side. Put a pencil in the middle. Now what? When you put a pencil in the middle, they look the same. I mean, they aren't great. They both go light to dark. But when you have it like this one looks much dark. This side looks much darker than that side. But when you put the pencil in the middle, you notice, wait a minute, they look the same.
What the heck is that?
The same. And it has to do with because this light and dark region are right next to each other. Keep this in mind when we go look at the moon a little later. The bricks. Are they straight and level?
Yeah.
Well, they kind of have to be. The bricks, look at the end. The ends are all straight. The ends are straight. Doesn't everything else in the middle have to be straight? And if you put a straight edge against all of them, they're all level. But notice they look crooked because your eyes, and this has to do with your eyes kind of flickering back and forth. Always remember, when you're looking at something, your eyes are always moving. Your eyes are always kind of vibrating because they're always taking in the scene. I mean, this even happens, this is real life. This is the Exploratorium. This is actually the entrance to the bathrooms of the Exploratorium. It's like guys, girls, that way. But you see this. And notice all these are all little square tiles. And they're all straight. But they all look like they're what? They all look curved, don't they? Again, it's because of our eyes moving around. The hat. Is the hat taller than the brim? I mean, look at it carefully. Use your pen. Is the hat taller? Now, does the hat look taller than the brim? But if we measure it, they are the same. They are the same. Again, it's the way we look at it because more stuff there. It's an optical illusion on that. You don't always get the effect here, but look at this one on yours. Are the little lines moving? Are they moving? Most people, they move. And again, that's that thing about your eyes are moving. Your eyes keep moving back and forth. So they keep changing which line. You're kind of changing your angle to the lines. And it causes what causes them to appear to move. Can I build this? Notice, I start here. This is kind of the top. Or kind of side. Now it's the top. It's open. Well, notice it's closed here. But on this side, it's over on this side, that area, this area is the top of the rod. But when I get to this side, it's the open space between the rods. So could I actually build this? No, can't build it. All right, look at the triangle. Quickly. Maria, quickly, read the triangle. Read it, quick. Oh. How many of you looked at that? How many of you only saw one dot? Yeah, you only see one. This is because your brain built up over this Paris in the spring. There are two dots. This is what, remember we said you never proofread your own work? This is what your brain does. It eliminates things, it adds things. This is why when you say, well, Mr. East, there's an error up there, and I have to look at it. Like, oh, yeah, because see, my brain is changing because I know what it should say, so sometimes I'm seeing the right word. I'm seeing the right grammar, so I have to kind of think about it. One thing also is to look backwards if you want to find where you go backwards and things like that. So it's about spell check nowadays. It will tag, okay, you have 2 does in a row. But this is also why you have other people proofread, because when they read it, they're going to see the right thing on that. Good question.
Wait,
okay. Yes.
For the triangle, is it just because it's in a triangle and where the other dot is placed? Or?
Sometimes it's where the other dot is placed because it's on the next line. Usually if they're right next to each other, you're going to catch it. But if it gets divided to the next line, but not always. It's the fact that you shouldn't have 2 does in a row. Your brain's a marvelous thing. It's kind of like, remember we talked about your hand, how when you put your hand, double the distance, how you look at it and your 2 hands look about the same size, but when I took the photograph of it, remember I showed you the photograph of it, the far hand looks one lot smaller than the near hand when you take a photograph, because your brain knows both your hands are the same size, so it makes them look like they're the same size. So turn to page 438. We're going to use that diagram a little later on that. We'll be using that diagram a little bit later. So